Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Learning English with Podcast Conversation. I'm your host, Tony. And today, we have a fantastic topic that's perfect for anyone learning English, especially if you want to make small talk and connect with people. It's something we all experience every single day, no matter where we are in the world, and that's talking about the weather. It sounds simple, right? But there's actually a lot to unpack. And to help us explore this topic, I'm thrilled to welcome our special guest today, Jenny. Jenny, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me, Tony. It's wonderful to be here, and what a great topic. You know, talking about the weather is truly a universal experience, and it's such a natural way to start a conversation, even if you don't know someone very well. I think for English learners, it's an incredibly useful skill. It's like a linguistic superpower for breaking the ice.
Absolutely, Jenny. A linguistic superpower. I love that. And you're right, it's often the first thing people say to each other. You know, nice day, isn't it? Or, it's a bit chilly today. But for learners, sometimes knowing how to go beyond just it's sunny can be a challenge. So today, we want to give our listeners some practical tools and phrases to talk about the weather confidently and naturally. We'll dive into different situations, vocabulary, and even some fun idioms. So Jenny, where should we start when we're trying to describe the current weather?
That's a great starting point, Tony. I think the absolute basics are essential. First, you'll often hear people ask, what's the weather like, or how's the weather? And simple answers are usually fine, like, it's sunny, it's cloudy, it's raining, or it's snowing. But to make it more interesting, we can add adverbs or stronger adjectives. For example, instead of just, it's sunny, you could say, it's gloriously sunny today, or it's beautifully sunny. Or if it's raining, it's pouring rain, which means raining very heavily. Or it's just a light drizzle, if it's barely raining at all. Those little details make a big difference, don't they?
Oh, they really do. Gloriously sunny instantly paints a picture, doesn't it? And light drizzle versus pouring rain gives such a clear idea of the intensity. I think for temperature, it's also more than just hot or cold. We have a whole range of words. Like, if it's very hot, you might say, it's boiling today, or it's scorching. And if it's cold, it's freezing, or it's bitter cold. And then, there's that uncomfortable in-between, isn't there? Like, it's mild, or it's cool, not too hot, not too cold. And what about humidity, Jenny? That's a big one in some parts of the world.
Ah, yes, humidity. That's a word that can make people groan, especially in tropical climates. You can say, it's very humid today, or it feels sticky. And sometimes if it's humid and hot, people might say, it's muggy. That means warm and a bit damp, very uncomfortable. Another thing to consider is the wind. It's not just windy. We have breezy for a pleasant, gentle wind, gusty for sudden, strong bursts of wind, or gale force winds for extremely strong, dangerous winds. All these words add nuance. And, what about talking about the future tense weather, Tony? That's also very common.
Excellent point, Jenny. The forecast is a constant topic. We often ask, what's the forecast for tomorrow? Or, is it supposed to rain later? And we can answer using, it's going to, or it's predicted to. So it's going to be sunny tomorrow. Or they're predicting thunderstorms this afternoon. Sometimes people will just say, looks like rain if they see dark clouds. Or it's clearing up if the clouds are going away. It's all about observation and sometimes a little bit of prediction, isn't it? And, you know, it's not always just about describing the weather itself, but how it feels or sense affects us.
You're absolutely right, Tony. That's where weather talk really gets interesting and personal. We often link the weather to our plans or our mood. For instance, this glorious sunshine is perfect for a walk in the park. Or, ugh, this constant rain is making me feel a bit gloomy. Or, I was hoping to go hiking, but the forecast says it's going to be very windy, so maybe not. It shows that you're not just stating a fact, but you're engaging with the weather on a personal level. And that's really what makes conversations natural and engaging. You're sharing a bit of yourself.
Exactly. It's the difference between a robotic weather report and a human connection. So adding phrases like, I hope it clears up, or I wish it would stop raining, or I love this kind of weather, it really helps. It opens the door for the other person to share their feelings too. Like, if I say, this rain is really making me want to stay indoors with a good book, you might respond with, oh, I know exactly what you mean. I was planning to do some gardening, but I guess that's out the window now. It creates a shared experience.
Yes, out the window is a great idiom there. It means it's not going to happen. And speaking of idioms, the English language is just full of them related to the weather, isn't it? They add so much color to our conversations. For example, under the weather means you're feeling a bit sick or unwell. So you might say, I'm feeling a bit under the weather today. Or, come rain or shine, means something will happen regardless of the weather. I'll be there, come rain or shine. And then there's the classic, break the ice. That's often what weather talk helps us do, isn't it? To make people feel more comfortable in a new situation.
Oh, those are brilliant, Jenny. Under the weather is so common, and learners sometimes get confused by it literally meaning below the weather, but it just means sick. And break the ice perfectly captures the essence of weather small talk. Another one I love is save for a rainy day, which means to save money or resources for future use, when you might need them. Or, every cloud has a silver lining, meaning even bad situations have a positive side. It's a very optimistic idiom, isn't it? These idioms are so ingrained in our language that understanding them really helps you sound more natural.
They really do, Tony. And I think part of sounding natural is also observing cultural nuances. For example, in the UK, talking about the weather is almost a national pastime. It's not just small talk. It's practically a sport. In other cultures, maybe people go straight to more direct topics. But in English-speaking countries, especially the UK, it's a very safe, polite, and expected way to start. It shows you're friendly and approachable. And, it gives you time to think about what to say next. Haha.
That's so true, Jenny. It's a great buffer. And it makes sense, especially in places like the UK where the weather can change so quickly. You can literally experience all 4 seasons in one day. Oh, it was sunny this morning, then it hailed, and now it's a lovely afternoon. It gives you plenty to talk about. Haha. So, what about some real-life examples, Jenny? Have you ever had a memorable or funny experience related to talking about the weather?
Oh, absolutely, Tony. I remember one time I was living in a city with very unpredictable weather. One morning I left for work, and it was absolutely pouring, a complete downpour. I was soaked. Then, by lunchtime, the sun was shining brightly, and it was quite warm. In the afternoon, there was a sudden hailstorm, small pieces of ice falling from the sky. And by evening, it was clear and chilly. I was talking to a colleague, and I just shook my head and said, well, we've had a bit of everything today, haven't we? It's been wild. And she laughed and totally agreed. It was just a shared experience of the day's crazy weather. It truly broke the ice because it was so dramatic.
Wow, that sounds like a day. I can totally relate to that. I remember when I first moved to London, I was constantly checking the weather app, and it was never quite right. I learned to always carry an umbrella, even if it looked sunny, because you just never knew. One time, I was meeting a friend for coffee, and it started to absolutely bucket down. That means rain extremely heavily. And I didn't have an umbrella, so I ran into a shop, completely drenched. When I finally got to the cafe, my friend looked at me, completely dry, and said, "Bit wet out there, eh?" And I just burst out laughing. It was such an understatement. But it was a funny way to connect over the shared inconvenience of the weather. It was like, yes, it's wet! And I'm living proof.
Haha. Bit wet out there, eh? That's so typically British, isn't it? A classic understatement. It's those little shared experiences that make weather talk so relatable. And it doesn't have to be a big, dramatic story. It can be as simple as, isn't this sunshine just glorious after all that rain we've had? And someone will usually nod and say, oh, it's just what we needed. It's about finding common ground. And that common ground is often literally right above our heads or around us.
It really is, Jenny. It's a reminder that we're all experiencing the same natural world, and for learners, it's a fantastic way to practice listening and responding. You don't need complicated grammar. You just need some key phrases and the confidence to use them. So, before we wrap up, let's give our listeners some key takeaways, some actionable tips they can use right away to improve their weather conversation skills.
Absolutely, Tony. My first key takeaway would be, start simple and observe. Asterisk. Don't try to use all the fancy vocabulary at once. Begin with the basic phrases like, it's sunny, it's cold, it's raining. But critically, close-size the actual weather around you. Look outside the window, feel the temperature. This helps you connect the words to the reality. And listen to how native speakers describe the weather. What adjectives do they use? Mimic them. You'll quickly build your vocabulary organically.
That's a brilliant point, Jenny. Observation is key. My second takeaway would be, connect weather to feelings or activities. Asterisk, don't just state the fact. Try to add a personal touch. For example, instead of just, it's hot, try, it's so hot, I don't want to leave the house. Or, this beautiful weather makes me want to go to the beach. This invites a more engaging response and shows you're not just reciting a dictionary definition. It makes the conversation human and allows the other person to relate to your experience.
I completely agree, Tony. That personal connection is vital. And for my third and final takeaway, embrace the weather as a conversation starter. And don't be afraid to expand. Asterisk. The weather is a safe and neutral topic, perfect for breaking the ice with strangers or filling a quiet moment with friends. Once you've established the weather, you can often pivot to other topics. For example, it's such a lovely day, have you made any plans for the weekend? Or, this heavy rain is making me want a hot cup of tea. Do you like tea? Use it as a bridge. The more you use it, the more confident you'll become, and the more natural your English will sound.
Fantastic tips, Jenny. Start simple, connect it personally, and use it as a bridge. That's a perfect summary. Talking about the weather is truly an art form, especially in English-speaking cultures, and it's a skill that will open so many doors for you. So, to all our listeners, don't shy away from weather talk. Look out your window, check your weather app, and start describing what you see and how you feel. Practice those phrases, use those idioms, and you'll soon be chatting about sunshine and storms like a pro. Thank you so much, Jenny, for sharing your insights and making this topic so engaging for our listeners today.
My pleasure, Tony. It was a real blast. Keep practicing, everyone. And remember, every cloud has a silver lining. Even a cloudy day can be an opportunity to practice your English. Goodbye.
Wonderful. And thank you all for tuning in to Learning English with Podcast Conversation. We hope this episode helps you feel more confident chatting about the weather. Join us next time for another engaging English lesson. Until then, keep learning and keep practicing.